My question to you to start things off, I know Shane Waldren was in the a bit of a dumpster fire situation in your eyes, and now he's out of that dumpster fire. But how far down the road is he towards being where we would like to see him, which is play caller of the year?
Yeah. I think we're a ways away from that, and I do think we've got to have multiple games where we're saying, hey, the design of this play was good. What I will tell you though is I think the last 2 games specifically, we've seen shot plays designed in like a very, I don't want to say like caring and thoughtful way, because that's probably not the correct verb, but it's just, you can tell it's, hey, these are coming off of another play that we've shown, which shows me the self-scout, that department's doing a really good job, whoever they have in charge of, hey, what have we shown on tape? What do we need to have kind of a play off of? Their self-scout, they've done a really good job after the first, little quarter of the season. And then they're innovative. I mean, I'm going to be honest, that Komet, it's so funny because we've been making a big deal about the Komet screen, right? And how much I hated it. And then for one of the wide open touchdowns to come off of a fake Komet screen is just so fitting, right? Because it's a great example of, do I think they knew where that play was going? Do I think that they installed the Komet screen and messed it up on 3rd down twice in order to have this play? No, I don't think they did that. But I do think they're like, oh, shoot, we could show this, have double wheel off at front side basically. But really, we're not even throwing that side of it where traditionally NFL teams would. The shot play would be faking the screen to then throw the shot to the same side. Instead, they work backside, isolate DJ Moore, and move a safety because of it. I mean, that's really, really darn good stuff. So to me, it was exciting to see that they're kind of iterating off of stuff that they've done previously.
How about Caleb's performance specifically on that play, understanding how it was developing and trusting what he had in DJ Moore being open even before he looked back?
Yeah, amen. Because you as a quarterback, you have to, right? I've got to pump Komet, and I've got to put my eyes front side because I need this safety to move. Really, we always talk about it, right? The quarterback, hey, your responsibility is the strong side safety, right? Your eyes move that strong side safety. It's up to our backside guy to win one-on-one. Of course, when you have DJ Moore, I think it's a little bit easier to trust that he's going to win backside one-on-one. But I will say, man, Caleb, I thought, did a really good job. He had another miss on film that we talked about in the review where it's like, you had Rome on the big stick at 8 post. He gets his eyes off a little bit early. Other than that, I thought he played a really good game. To me, it's like if we're sitting here and the Bears win and Caleb statistically does well, and then the conversation is, and there was more out there, such a positive conversation, right? Because right now, I don't think anyone, myself included, you guys, think that it's Caleb's job to be perfect yet, right? Like that's an unreasonable expectation. So to me, it's like if we're sitting here and we're like, man, Caleb, you executed on 90% of what we're asking you to do. And the 10%, you didn't make a mistake, right? It wasn't like, hey, an egregious, hey, he missed Rome on a touchdown and then drilled a Sam linebacker in the chest, right? That's not what he's doing. He missed Rome on the touchdown, got to his check down. So to me, it's like that's so positive and that we still have room for improvement to where it's like we're going to have a day where I'm going to come on here and we're going to be like, hey, what do you think of Caleb's 500-yard performance? Because he's not going to miss any of those.
Wow. I mean, you're teasing ahead to a future that everyone wants to fast forward to right now. Yep. Tim, looking at this week, it's an interesting matchup because the Jaguars are not good defensively. Yeah. What do you want to see from this Bears offense in terms of a game plan?
Yeah. Okay, so here's what I will say. When you face not a great defense, the temptation is to become a whiteboard warrior and like, man, here are the 14 shot plays we're going to hit. What I would say is what I want to see is continued good dose of the run game, selective when we take our shots, and continue to get the ball out of Caleb Williams' hand fast on, 1st and 10, 2nd and 4. To me, it's like keep playing great offense. Don't look at the Jaguars and think, here's our opportunity to throw 20 shot plays and light the world on fire. Look at the Jaguars and say, let's continue to play great offense. Let's continue to win football games in the National Football League. Because what I would rather see is like another, I don't want to call it a boring win, but hey, we played well on offense. We won by 14 and not, okay, hey, we just went 3 and out, 4 drives in a row because we're trying to rip these shot plays because we think this defense sucks. And now we're in a dogfight. So to me, it's like, this is the game that I really think next week we'll be sitting here and it'll either be like, hey, the Bears are for real because they had an opponent come in who, like, you know, we'd be remiss to not talk about what's happening in Florida, right? Like, you know, you have family down there, what, you know, like all this stuff going on, plus plus everything going on with them. And like, hey, the Bears either showed up and took care of business and, hey, we think they're for real because they're going to show up and take care of business and games they're supposed to win. Or we're going to sit here and it's like they were in a dogfight or they lost and it's like those were the ones they weren't supposed to. And that's going to be a whole different discussion. I just want to see them continue to play really sound offense, run the ball, let the ball get out of Caleb's hand quickly. And then when they do throw shots, keep executing, keep building them off of looks that these teams have seen on tape. One
adjustment that they've made, Tim, that I've really enjoyed, and I've been asking about it, is the use of the draw play for DeAndre Swift. Previously, when he had just been given the ball and asked to run, there were some, what I saw as vision issues. He was bad in the first 3 games because it didn't seem like he had enough space to run or he was making some bad decisions. In the draw game, he has fewer opponents in his vision. If 4 guys are now behind him instead of in front of him, he's just got more space and it's worked. So now they're practicing against that. What is the counter to that? What can you run off of draw action to which a defense may now be susceptible?
Yeah, I view it a lot like so, you know, the screen, they hit that screen, right? And they hit the screen off of play action.
Right.
So to me, it's like, if I put myself in the linebacker's shoes on play action, what are you thinking? You're thinking, oh, it's, you know, run, right? You're reading run. And then, oh, shoot, it's play action. So then you turn and you go to get the heck out of there, right? And then guess what? It's a screen. So you need to come back forward, right? To me, like, those are the best plays where you can literally be like run, pass, oh, shoot, it's basically run again. Draws the equivalent, right? Where we should, and part of why I think we're getting so good with draws because our quick game's so effective. So when Caleb Catch, you know, flips like he's going to throw quick and then gives it, guys are flying out of there. So now the natural iteration off it is, hey, flip, okay, you know, draw PA, and then guess what? We're going to hit these dig routes behind you. Drop, you know, play action draw, it's tough to really generate still the big shot because safeties are kind of back and, you know, they don't really necessarily react on draw the same. So those big shots are tough, but those, like, you know, little seam routes to Komet or like a dig route from Keenan Allen from the slot, if you paired him to the same side as DJ Moore and DJ Moore was on the deep, those are the kind of things that can be really great off that draw PA. So I think draw play action and or fake draw screen, right? Where it's the same principle of we show you pass, we show you play action, now you fly out of there again, and then guess what? Boom, we're going to give it to him again on screen. So I do love the draw stuff. I think it's built off how good the Bears are in quick game right now. And then I do think there's another iteration, whether you want to go fake draw with the screen like we do with play action, getting to the back on screen, or even if you want to go draw to the front side and then, you know, like to me, right, you know, not to nerd out, but
no, listen, go ahead. That's what you're here for.
Yeah. But if you were to show up, right, and like to me, like I think a world-class play, you show up in 2x2, meaning 2 receivers on each side, commit to your backside on the left, you kick DJ Moore across the formation, you get to 3x1 with the tight end attached, isolated, you show stick, have Caleb flip, fake the draw, screen it back into the boundary with Komet from tight end. Like that's the stuff where I think those are what I would go to, like, you know, 3rd and 8, where all of a sudden you think you're going to get man, you think you're going to get pressure. All we have to do is block the man coverage. We're good to go. So I think there's, you know, it's funny too. I just said 3rd and 8, we're throwing screen to Komet, but we're getting to it in a sexy way. So, you know, I don't know. I think there's a lot that can come off of it. And I do think that, you know, they are running the ball more effectively, like you said, from the draw action. And I think a lot of that's built off of how darn effective they've been in quick game.
You mentioned the 3rd down situations. One of the guys who's supposed to quell the issues they've had in staying on the field is Keenan Allen, who's back looking healthy. We just heard Shane Waldren talk about getting him more involved. And that's one of the things that they're aiming to do. We've seen everybody else kind of have a game or two where they've really been in the spotlight. How important is it in terms of rhythm, in terms of keeping teams off balance, to get Keenan Allen going?
Yeah, I think when you look at Keenan Allen, right, I think a lot of that comes from you start looking around the standings and it's like, man, we got a shot, right? Like we got a shot to go and keep playing some meaningful football. And then knowing that, it's like you want your vets around, right, when that shows up. You know, it's one thing, hey, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5, whatever, with Keenan Allen. But to me, it's like part of trying to heat him up, I think, is the anticipation of we got some real meaningful football coming up. And the best thing for a young quarterback is vet receivers out there that he can count on. So I do think, like, listen, I don't see a lot of stuff on tape where it's like Keenan Allen seems to be first on this progression, right? Like it doesn't seem like we build the offense through him as our first read. With that being said, I think what they've tried to do is try to count on, Caleb gets to his second or his third progression, and then Keenan's going to be there. The challenge is, man, is like what they drew up last week. You're not getting off number 1 or number 2 very often. And to me, it's like, if you were to really like twist my arm and ask me, that's tough, man. To not draw DJ or Rome as your first progression, like it's a hard thing to do, right? You have, hey, we only have this many passing plays. Ideally you're going through those guys. With that being said, I understand what Shane's trying to do, which is, hey, let's get this third option involved, especially knowing, we got some meaningful football coming up. So I do think there's some creative ways to get him on the same side of DJ Moore, get him in trips in between Rome and DJ to where you can start with him as the number 1 on like an option route. And then you can reverse the true ladder read where it's short to deep. And then you could always isolate him backside and give him some 50-50 opportunities as well.
I want to ask you a question as if you're my quarterback's coach, and I'm coming to you to help me solve a problem.
Yep.
Coach, I've got a problem that I'm going up against a cornerback in Jaylen Johnson who is so good that it changes where my eyes are going. And I've realized as I'm watching the film, it's almost a learned helplessness. There's almost no point in my progression, me being concerned about that side of the field, because the guy he's covering is just never open. So what do I do? Do I only look more at the other side of the field, or do I stay disciplined and keep reading it, even though I'm really never going to throw over there?
Yeah, it's a really, really nuanced question. Here's what I tell you. Man coverage, most of the time eliminate him, unless what we're eliminating is like the absolute reason we put the play in. So like an example of that is at times with great corners, what you do is you let them, hey, on 1st and 10, we're 3-by-1, they're backside, just eliminate it, read the concept, right? In a traditional game, hey, we'd work the one-on-one. Right now, leave it. The one thing that I would say, and this is sometimes counter to what most people think, I'm never a fan of trying guys like that in like regular down and distances, regular situations. What I will say though, is when you're at the quarterback spot and we draw up a play to isolate DJ Moore, if we find ourselves in a situation where we have a who we believe is a bona fide 1, who's our bona fide 1, and they give us one-on-one coverage in a gotta have it situation, I always would rather go down doing what we're great at than let us play, because listen, when they're backside one-on-one, they're also plus in coverage to the concept, right? So to me, it's like, those are the times that I would then attack him. And I think you got to be smart with how you attack him, right? You got to find out there are great corners. Patrick Surtain in Denver, right? There are great corners. Every great corner still has something. We got to figure out what it is. Is it double moves? Is it quick game? Is it a push by? Is it, hey, they're really good against 9 stops where we run 9 yards and stop. But guess what? At 15, when we run a Harvey and come back down, he turns his hips and runs a little bit. Then all of a sudden, okay, hey, we're going to run twins right gun, scat right, deep, sticky 9 stop. Now, boom, it's a Harvey route because we think he's not good enough against that. And we're only going to show the Harvey route in a gotta have it situation. Everything else is going to be the 9 stop. Like those are the things that I think like a really great corner make you think about. So I wouldn't say, hey, we full blown abandon what we do. With that being said, regular down and distance, we're reading the concept. If it's a gotta have it situation and we're calling this play into the headset because we want to throw it to DJ Moore, we're going to throw it to DJ Moore regardless of who's on him, in my opinion, because I do think if we're we're on time and he runs a great route, we're still completing it, and then also every once in a while it's going to be a pick 6 and you're going to lose the game. But I'd rather lose on doing what we do than let them dictate us into something that we're not. I mean, sometimes you hear Saban and Belichick talk about it, right? They're like, we always wanted to take away what the offense was great at and make it feel like they were playing one hand behind the back. And then if you listen to them continue that quote, they always talk about if it didn't work at first, how many OCs would abandon it. and they abandon, right? Hey, our 8 weeks of prep coming into this. And what they talk about is the guys that they worried about was the guys that they knew, like, we're going to keep going at it because it's still their best thing. So no matter what you do, you know, they're going to pop a big play every once in a while. And they would always talk about, like, hey, getting back to it at some point. And to me, it's just those situations where you have to have something. I do think go with what you're great at. Don't let them settle you into something where it's like you're going to be kicking yourself the next day.
Is a Harvey route the same as like a lightning? Is it a go variation?
Yeah, they're all built off the go tree, right? So it's like, so hitch is, you know, the 5 steps, turn. Okay. Curl is 12 coming back down your stem. Comeback 16 breaking out. 9 stop is 9 yards and turn in. Not a curl. Don't run back. Just turn. And then Harvey's 15 right back down your stem. And then if you want to get real smart, the Super Bowl party. Okay, a run back, that's going to be 22 back to 18 on the sideline. Because comeback's kind of deep, but a run back's real deep. Okay. So it's and then there's pretty much only 97 other variations.
These are X receiver things generally, right?
Yeah, generally your number one outside dude on the backside of a concept.
Okay. I'm just trying to get my head around it. It's all
I appreciate it.
I mean, listen, I'm gonna send you up. I got like 97 playbooks. I'm gonna send one up to you guys. You know.
Hey, if you do that, I'll study it. I'll learn more.
Oh yeah,
I'm seriously, I'm a nerd. So
whiteboard
warrior.
I'm
gonna be up there for my cousin's getting married in February in Chicago. I'm gonna be up there. I feel like I got to come in there, say hi to everybody.
Hell yeah!
I like
and
this.
They say Chicago in February is beautiful, so I'm really excited about the weather.
Don't be alarmed. Like people have been telling me, "Oh, Chicago." So I'm like, bro, this has been the mildest place I've lived. I've been here for 3 years plus now. I've lived in Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, Philly, Pittsburgh, and Cincinnati. The weather was way worse than this. Way worse.
I'm ready for it. I'm excited. We're gonna bring the kids. It'll be great. Just when you guys see some guy just walking down the street chasing 4 kids in February, you're gonna be like, "There's Tim."
The ice skating rink's right around the corner.
That's right. Come down Millennium Park. Perfect place to do it. Before we let you go, we just had Matt Bowen on, and he said that the Jaguars are going to show 2 deep 65% of the time, and it's going to be both cover 2 or some variation of a 2 deep zone and or 2-man. How do you make sure that you call, depending on formation, can you have a check or a kill from zone to man, from zone beater to man beater that's going to be effective?
You definitely can. Here's what I tell you, and I'd be interested to know what Matt thought, but shoot, man, they're gonna show that, right? And they're gonna run that. And I know Jags like 2-man, but if they come in and they run 2-man against Caleb Williams, DC's got to be out of town because Caleb's too good at extending the play. Like if they show 2-man, to me, I wouldn't even bother with having a true kill package this week. I'd literally tell Caleb,
take
if
off.
they show 2-man against you, go. Like take a drop, get the heck out of there. Because I think he's way too good. He's way too athletic to run 2-man against. I just don't think you can do it.
There it is. Tim Jenkins, always a delight. Much appreciated.
Appreciate you guys. Have a great day.
That is Tim Jenkins, our quarterbacks coach. Okay.